Now, we have word today that Nortel Networks was the target of hackers in China for years. According to the Wall Street Journal, the attacks are believed to go all the way back to 2000. Using stolen passwords, including one from Nortel's own CEO, the hackers were able to download everything from business plans to employee emails. The report says Nortel conducted an internal investigation but did not disclose the hacking to prospective buyers of the company's assets. The Chinese embassy in Washington has issued a statement saying the cyber attacks are transnational and anonymous and shouldn't be assumed to originate in China. Now, for more on this story, let's head back out to our editor-at-large, Cory Johnson, in the newsroom. Cory?
Yeah, thanks, Em. I'm joined by Brian White, who's the managing director at the Chertoff Group and chief strategy officer as well. He specializes in strategic consulting and homeland security. Of all the hacking stories, this is a shocker, but you could maybe just because you can picture it. But getting the passwords of the CEO and a few other top executives. Have you seen anything like this before?
Yeah, in fact, it's actually common because in many ways an executive is more at risk than others in a company just due to the nature of how exposed they are, how they use phones,
what do you mean,
how active they are.
Because they're dumber?
Because they're out, no, because they're out and about. To be an effective executive, you need to engage with a lot of people, you need to use various devices, and that puts you in the environment. It also enables hackers to target you because they know who you are publicly and they can send you emails that would enable them to phish and find out indeed what your password may be.
When have we seen this before? Have there been any specific examples? We just know of it as an approach.
We know of it as an approach. I'm sure there are, but none that come to mind immediately.
What kinds? So Nortel also very interesting. In 2000, it was arguably one of the top 2 or 3 most dominant players in. There are players like it's a football thing, but among the dominant companies in networking, which is to say they ran both networking and networking security. A weakness of them might be like a weakness at a defense contractor or something.
That's fair. I think it demonstrates, though, that the persistency of the threat. What is indeed happening is they're targeted because they have so much information, because their intellectual property is so valuable, and it shows that everybody is potentially vulnerable to this type of attack.
Yeah, if we didn't know that before, we know that now. But,
correct.
But exactly what kind of stuff could they get?
They can find out R&D development, where they are doing development, how they are building their networks, what type of security devices they're going to
so let's imagine it was a foreign government that wanted to do this, as China was in the press about this. But if a foreign government might want to know how a network is constructed, because why? What's the worst that could happen?
Well, it enables them to take more information. Their target right now is to gain information to jumpstart their internal research and development. And by going after major telecommunications companies, that is pretty much the lifeblood of R&D in this nation, they are great targets.
In this case in Canada, but yeah.
Correct.
So maybe there's an advantage here. Nortel kind of fell apart. Their products weren't doing as well. There were also some other issues going on at the company, but do they hack into the wrong guys?
No, I think what it foreshadows is that everybody is potentially compromised. You need to now assume that you have been compromised, and you need to take a data-centric approach to how you protect your information. No longer is perimeter defense enough. And the final point to make is that there's more devices on a network today. Think about it. That happened in 2000 or maybe 2004.
Before iPhones, before iPads, before whatever else was walking
Bingo.
around.
Now more and more people are connecting with their personal devices, and that just increases their exposure.
Now, I wonder also in this, I mean, it sounds like you're describing the risk as being sort of an industrial, not even industrial sabotage, or maybe industrial sabotage, like another company that was partially government-owned that may be making competitive products that may have taken Nortel's business, which is something that's actually happened. But also, you're not talking about defense, that there may be some sort of national security implications as well.
Correct. In many ways, this is classic espionage. Take your time, determine the target that you want to penetrate, and then gather information to do what? We're unsure. But we think it's due to their need for more research and development, for their need for more technology, and for the realization that it's easier to steal that information than to do it themselves.
Could this have, do we know it's government, this kind of thing?
That's what's suspected and is reported in the piece in the Wall Street Journal today.
I mean, why wouldn't it be a competitive company that had nothing to do with another government?
It could. I mean, and that's the kind of wild, wild west that we are in right now in cybersecurity. And I think what's interesting is today the Senate actually put in place a cybersecurity legislation, and that will be debated upon in the next few weeks to see if that will be a potential way ahead to put some standards in place for security.
Is there a level of forensic analysis of the code code that was used in the hacking to try to determine where it came from? And can that be useful?
Yeah, there is. And it does, according to the article, it does ping back to China. But in many ways, it's very difficult to ascertain exactly where that IP address originated from due to the nature of how the networks and how data moves across the world. It literally can move amongst many nations, many states, and many different computers before you can ultimately determine which IP address started this attack.
Perfect environment for a thief.
Correct.
All right, Brian White, the Chertoff Group, we're really glad to have you on to help us
Thank you.
understand all this. It's scary times
Yes.
out there. Emily?